The sun and the earth and Jupiter and Mars. How loving and patient he must be. He's still working on me. I'm glad he never gives up. You know what I'm really grateful for, preacher? Is that Christ don't treat me like I treat him. I'm glad he don't quit on me like I've quit on him. I'm glad that halfway up the cross, halfway up Golgotha's, halfway up the torture, halfway up the bruising, and the spitting and the slapping, he didn't say, you know what? I'm God, and I don't feel like doing this. I'm glad that he was a better Christian than I am. We live in a society where every day we come to church and we let a runny nose or a bad foot or a hurt hand or a circus or a parade or a football game keep us away from God. And I'm glad that halfway up the hill and halfway up the road to Calvary, he didn't throw the towel in because he didn't feel like it. You know, we've heard a lot of songs tonight, and I wrote a song, and we're going to sing it, and Toby asked me to do this song. I've met a lot of people through the years, and this song took me a long time to write because I'd met all these people through the years. I met a lady in a church who was dying of cancer. She had 6 months to live. She was in her 30s, had 3 kids. And she came up to the table and she told me, she said, I've got to tell my little girls that Mama's going to die if God don't heal her. 6 months after we sang at that church, she passed away. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I learned something about God that I didn't know as a young child. Sometimes God says no. We don't like that kind of God. Because we like the one that always says, yes, you have it all. Whatever you want, take it. We don't like the daddy that stands up and says, you know what? You just don't need it this time. This is what I've learned, preacher. Every born-again believer who asks for God to heal them will get their healing. But it may not be here. Because here's the deal. There'll be no sorrow. There'll be no sickness. There'll be no pain. There'll be no parting. There'll be no death. There'll be no sorrow. There'll be no suffering. When you see Jesus face to face, all that will vanish away. Because in his presence, there's nothing but goodness and godness. I was trying to pray about this song when I was writing it, preacher, and this is what I said to God. I said, God, this ain't fair that this lady died. I told God that. I talked to God. God, ain't fair. This is what God spoke to me. He said, I never promised life would be fair. I promised I would be faithful in the unfairness. That's who he is. I met an 8-year-old little boy in a wheelchair. Never walked a day in his life. And believe when I say this, he wanted to. Now he's 18 years old. He still doesn't walk. But I can promise you this. One day, he's going to run. One day, he's going to dance. One day, he's going to be going down streets of gold without his assistance. I met a little girl, 13 years old, and she was going on the next Monday following the service. She was going to court because she had to choose which parents she wanted to live with. Parents were going through divorce and she didn't know what to do. I met a man in the church who was, this is what he told me. He got saved at a service, preacher. He cried the entire time. I said, are you okay? He said, yeah. He said, I am now. He said, I was on my way from work. I was going home to kill myself. And I seen cars in the parking lot and decided to stop again. And God healed him. Because God saved him. And I'm here to tell you, I don't know your pain, I don't know your suffering. I know this. In a crowd this big, there's some people here, you're hurting, and nobody even knows it. You go to the bank and put in a card and try to get money out, and it spits the card back at you. You write a check and hope you can beat it back to the bank before it bounces. You don't know where the next meal's going to come. You don't know if God's going to heal you today or tomorrow, and you hope that it's today. Your marriage is in a mess, and you're absolutely praying that God do something before it ends. Your kids are upside down, and you don't know what to do, but I'm here to tell you something. God has never said oops. God has never made a mistake. And He has everything under control. Put it in His hands and hold on to His hand. Everything will work out just like He plans for it to work out. Listen. She bows her head and cries as the doctor says, you only have 6 months to live, maybe less. She pleads with God, let me live. I have a husband and 3 kids. How can I leave them all alone? He's only 8 and never took a step before. You see, he wants to play all his friends and so much more. As he bows his head, each night he prays, dear God, why won't you make a way? As he listens for the answer, he can hear his Father say, hold to my hand, your healing's on the way. It may not be now, but it will come someday. I'm here inside your heart to give you strength to stand. I've been waiting for, so hold to my hand. Listen. She stands before the courtroom, not knowing what to do.